In Germany in the early 1900s, the means of transport were far behind that of the Americas. With Henry Ford inventing the first car, Germany was falling behind. Hitler couldn't have this, but didn't want the same thing the Americans had. He wanted to have his own revolutionary design of the car, and this is where he began to think. The design of the Bug was actually stolen from a Jewish engineer, and Hitler had him written out of history. He wanted a fast, affordable, family-friendly vehicle that all his citizens could use. Thus, the Volkswagen Koffer, or the Volkswagen Bug, was born. A rear-engine, rear-wheel drive, Beetle-shaped car. The air-cooled engine ensured the car would start even in the harsh German temperatures. The Volkswagen's factory was built in 1938, and they immediately started producing the vehicle. Then World War II hit, and halted the production. But this didn't mean Volkswagen was out of use. They used the design of the Bug for military vehicles that were used in the war. There were about 52,000 Kubelwagens made and used in World War II. They were very helpful in the war and were a serious advancement in military technology. The many models like the Schwimmwagen, which was a four-wheel drive in first gear to help it get out of the water, were some of the most advanced models of the Volkswagen that were useful in the war. Volkswagen, then under the control of the British military, began producing Beetles again in December 1945. The factory of Wolfsburg, which was used for munitions production, was used to produce the Bugs now due to the original factory lying in ruins. It came to be named Wolfsburg Motor Works. By 1949, the company, now called Volkswagen GmbH, was back in the hand of Germany. By 1950, the first Beetle exporting took place. 330 Volkswagens were sold, mostly to other dealers in the U.S. In 1951, the Type I's cable brakes were replaced by hydraulically operated drum brakes, and the engine gets a Solex carburetor, which increases the power from 24 to 30 horsepower. In 1952, Volkswagen fits the Bug with synchro mesh for second, third, and fourth gear. By 1954, there was even more displacement added to the Bug, increased from 1,131 to 1,192 cc's, increasing the horsepower from 30 to 36. In 1955, they built the 1 millionth Bug, whilst 9,000 had been sold to the U.S. by this time. In 1958, they made the rear window larger and gave the car tubeless tires. In 1960, the transmission becomes fully synchronized and an automatic choke and pump windshield washers system are added. Power increases to 40 horsepower. By 1966, the displacement rises to 1,300 cc's. Power is now 50 horsepower. In 1968, Volkswagen introduces the automatic stick-shift semi-automatic transmission option. Essentially, a regular Beetle, 4-speed manual, with first gear removed, a torque converter added, and a vacuum-operated clutch that disengages any time the shifter is touched. 1971, the Super Beetle emerges, with strut-type suspension, a larger front storage area, and more. In 1972, the Beetle passed the iconic Ford Model T as top-selling car in history. In 1974, Wolfsburg produces its last Beetle. In 1975, EFI, electronic fuel injection, was invented. Through the 1970s, the Bug was introduced into rally racing, entering the Baja 1000 over half a world away. By 1980s, Volkswagen was past the Bug, but it hadn't completely forgotten it, making sportier models such as the Rabbit, Fox, and the Scirocco. Unlike the new Volkswagens, like the Scirocco, etc., the Bug remained rear-wheel drive with an air-cooled engine, whereas the others were front-wheel drive, water-cooled engines. More recently now, in 1998, the Volkswagen Bug makes a reappearance with a 115 horsepower 2.0-liter engine. The most recent Bugs were designed to try and get back to the original design of the Bug. To conclude, this car has been through a whole lot in its lifetime, with over 22 million of the Bugs produced, and still being made today. The history of the Bug can never be forgotten because it truly was a revolutionary vehicle that made a skid mark on history.